By the end of this video, you'll have your WordPress site configured and be prepared to publish your first page. Let's get started. If you've been following along, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you're excited to log into your site and check out the WordPress dashboard. To log into your site, first log into the Bluehost dashboard and then click the WordPress button at the top of the homepage. Now, when you first log in, you'll see a ton of these notices, and this is because Bluehost has auto-installed some plugins. I find it annoying, but it's easy enough to fix. Click on the Plugins menu to view your installed plugins. Once the page loads, check the box at the top to select all plugins, then uncheck the Bluehost box because we want to leave that one active. Then click on the Bulk Actions dropdown and select the Deactivate option, and lastly, click Apply to deactivate the plugins. You're leaving the Bluehost plugin active because it's adding the Coming Soon page, but you can deactivate it too once you launch your site. With the clutter removed, you can get a look at what a fresh install of WordPress looks like. First, this up here is called the Admin Toolbar, and it's available at all times when you're logged into your site. Hover over your site title and click the Visit Site link to view your website. We call this the front end of the site. You can see the admin toolbar is still present at the top of the page, and it's only visible for you because you're logged in. Your visitors do not see this, and likewise, if you logged out, you wouldn't see it either. The site looks really plain right now because there's not much content and no images. My site is running the 2019 default WordPress theme, and depending on when you watch this video, you might be running a newer default theme. Just to make sure we're on the same page, let's activate the same theme now. Click on the site title in the admin toolbar to return to the admin dashboard. We call this the back end of the site. Next, click on the appearance menu to view your themes, and as you can see here, there are 3 themes installed on my site, and the theme at the top left is the active theme. So that's the one that affects the way my site looks. To add a new theme, click on the Add New Theme button. On the next page, locate the search bar and type in Apex to reveal the Apex WordPress theme. Hover over the theme and click the Install button. Once the installation is complete, press the blue Activate button to activate it on your site. You'll be redirected back to the Appearance menu where you can now see the Apex theme is activated. Later in the course, I'll give you a 3-step process for finding the perfect theme for your site, but for now, leave the Apex theme active so your site looks just like mine throughout the rest of this course. Let's continue the tour by visiting the main dashboard page of your site. This page gives you an overview of the site, and most people don't know this, but if you click on the Screen Options tab all the way at the top, you can choose which of the boxes you want to display. The At a Glance section is the only one that I personally find helpful, so I usually leave that one checked and then uncheck all the others. Next, let's take a quick look through the settings menus so you can configure your site. In the General Settings page, you can find the same site title and tagline options that were available when creating your Bluehost account. Your tagline is completely optional, but you should always enter in the site title even if you plan on replacing it with a logo on the front end. Next up, make sure to set your time zone using this setting. A lot of WordPress users forget to do this, and then when they schedule their posts, they end up getting published hours before or after they wanted to because their time zone wasn't configured yet. When you click the drop-down selector, you'll see all of the manual time offsets, but if you're in a region that practices daylight savings time, you'll want to scroll up and select your location with one of these options instead so that your site's time updates automatically with daylight savings time. Also, quick tip, anytime you come across a select field like this on any website, you can click on it and then actually start typing in what you're looking for to instantly choose a result. So if I just type in NEW, I'll be taken straight to the New York time zone. The date format will be used by your theme for the published dates on your posts and comments, so you may want to customize how that looks here. Below, there are some options added by the Bluehost plugin, but you can leave them as is. Next, we have the Writing Settings menu, and there's not much to change here. The default category option can save you some time after you've created your categories, and the Update Services section is interesting. Every time you publish a new post, WordPress notifies the sites listed here. Basically, what happens is that your post will show up on feed sites and news aggregators, and you might get some new visitors this way. Plus, it can also help Google to find your new posts faster. If you downloaded the WordPress Beginners Bundle, I've included a list of the additional update services that you can copy and paste into this field to get more traffic to your newest posts. Next, in the reading settings menu, we have two very important options. By default, WordPress lists all of your posts on the homepage. With this setting, you can choose a normal page to display on your homepage and choose a different page to list your posts. I've got a dedicated tutorial on how this works if you'd like to check that out now. Also in the reading settings is this option, which allows you to change how many posts display on each page of the blog. In the discussion settings page, you'll find all of the controls to change how comments work. We'll just make a few changes here. First, uncheck this setting to disable trackbacks and pingbacks, which will reduce the amount of comment spam you get. Next, scroll down the page and check this box down here so comments will require manual approval before being published on your site, and then you can uncheck the option to require a previously approved comment. In the media settings page, you can define sizes for the images you upload. When you upload an image to WordPress, it keeps the original but also adds a few extra sizes based on these settings. This is helpful when you upload a large image and need a smaller thumbnail version to display in an image gallery or something like that. The default settings here are good, so you can leave them as is unless you have a specific requirement for your images. Now let's move on to the permalinks menu. Every page you publish will have its own URL, and WordPress sometimes refers to a page's URL as its permalink. In the permalinks menu, there's one main setting used to change the URL structure for all of your pages. Using the default setting, you'll see that the link has a parameter named p set equal to 123. This is what the URL of a post with an ID of 123 would look like. Alternatively, look at the post name setting. Instead of adding the ID of the post into the URL, this structure uses the title of the post. Not only is it easier for people to read, but it's also more valuable for search engines because it tells them a bit more about the topic of the page. In other words, you should always use the post name setting because it's friendlier for both people and search engines like Google. Next up in the privacy settings page, WordPress will ask you to select a page here in this drop-down that contains your privacy policy. You'll see that there is a page draft already selected, and that's because WordPress auto-creates a basic privacy policy page for you, so you can leave that selected here and then fill out the privacy policy later. Next, the Tools menu has a set of import tools you can use to import content from another WordPress site or third-party platform, and the Export menu provides a simple way of exporting your content should you need to move it to another site. This site health page includes some tips for securing and speeding up your site, but for the most part, these issues are really minor, so I wouldn't stress out about them. If you click on the info section, you can find a huge amount of info about your site. The one thing I want you to see is that if you click on the server tab, you can find your site's PHP version here. Sometimes if you contact your theme developer or a plugin developer about a bug, they'll need to know your PHP version, and so this is where you can find that. Also, while we're on the subject, you can always find the version of WordPress you're using at the bottom right corner of every page in the dashboard. The Tools menu also includes these export and erase personal data options, and you'll probably never need to use these, but they were added to WordPress to comply with the GDPR Privacy Act that the EU put into place on May of 2018. Basically, if you have members registered on your site, you can use these tools to send them their account data if they request it, or delete their data from your site entirely if they request that. The very last settings menu we'll check out before we move on to publishing your first page is the Users menu. Here you can find all of the members registered on your site. If you have multiple authors or subscribers who follow your blog, they'll all be listed here. You can click on any member to edit their profile, and since this one is my profile, I can also click on the Your Profile link in the menu to reach my own profile. The Personal Options section is used to make small changes to the WordPress interface itself, and these settings will only apply to me when I'm logged in. For instance, I can switch between a few different color schemes here if I want. More importantly, you have the name section. Your username can't be changed, but it doesn't display publicly anywhere on the site, so that's okay. The name that is displayed publicly is listed here. You can type out a nickname and write whatever you want, and then select that as your public display name. This will be used in your post byline and in your comments, amongst other places. Depending on which WordPress theme you select, the biographical info may be output after your blog posts in some sort of about the author section, so you may want to fill this out, but it's not a requirement. Lastly, if you use Gravatar, then you'll see a profile image displaying here just like mine. Gravatar is a simple way to associate an image with an email address, and it's free to create an account. Once you sign up and upload a profile pic to pair with your email account, it'll show up on your WordPress site automatically. In fact, tons of websites use Gravatar, so you'll see this image popping up all over the web once you start using Gravatar. And with that, your WordPress site is configured and you're ready to start creating content. In the next video, you'll create your first page. I'll see you there.